In a remote village, nestled deep within the mountains, lies an ancient mansion known as the Whispering Shadows. This mansion, shrouded in mystery and legend, has stood for centuries, its walls holding secrets that have been whispered through generations. The villagers speak of it in hushed tones, warning travelers to stay away. They believe the mansion is cursed, haunted by restless spirits that have driven many to madness. Tales of eerie sounds, ghostly apparitions, and unexplained disappearances have kept the curious at bay. But one stormy evening, a young journalist named Arjun decided to uncover the truth behind the mansion. Driven by a thirst for adventure and a desire to make a name for himself, Arjun was determined to explore the Whispering Shadows and document his findings. Armed with his camera and a flashlight, Arjun ventured into the Whispering Shadows, ignoring the villagers' desperate pleas. They watched with worried expressions, fearing for his safety, but knowing they could not dissuade him. As he stepped inside, the air grew cold and eerie whispers began to echo through the halls. The temperature seemed to drop with each step he took, and the whispers grew louder, as if the mansion itself was alive and aware of his presence. The mansion's interior was a labyrinth of decaying rooms and dark corridors. The walls were covered in peeling wallpaper, and the floors were littered with debris. It was clear that no one had lived there for a very long time. Shadows danced on the walls and the floorboards creaked under his weight. Every sound seemed amplified in the silence, and Arjun couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. In the heart of the mansion, Arjun discovered a hidden staircase leading to the basement. The entrance was concealed behind a large, dusty tapestry, and it seemed as though it had not been used in years. The whispers became deafening as he descended into the darkness. Each step echoed ominously, and the air grew thicker, making it difficult to breathe. Arjun's heart pounded in his chest, but he pressed on, driven by a mix of fear and curiosity. His flashlight flickered, casting eerie shadows on the damp walls. The basement was even more decrepit than the rest of the mansion, with mold and mildew covering every surface. The smell of decay was overwhelming. At the bottom of the stairs, he found a door covered in strange symbols. The symbols were unlike anything he had ever seen, and they seemed to pulse with a faint, otherworldly light. With trembling hands, Arjun pushed the door open. The hinges creaked loudly, and the door seemed to resist his efforts, as if it were trying to keep him out. Inside, he found a room filled with old, dusty books and a large, ornate mirror. The books were written in languages he couldn't understand, and the mirror was covered in a thick layer of dust. The whispers seemed to be coming from the mirror itself. As he wiped away the dust, he saw his reflection, but it was distorted and twisted, as if the mirror was showing him a glimpse of another world. It was the spirit of a woman, her eyes hollow and her face twisted in agony. She seemed to be trapped within the mirror, her hands pressed against the glass as if she were trying to escape. She reached out to Arjun, her voice a haunting whisper. "Help me," she pleaded. "Free me from this curse." Her voice was filled with desperation and sorrow, and Arjun felt a pang of sympathy for her. "Help me," she pleaded again. "I have been trapped here for centuries, bound by a curse that I cannot break. Please, you must help me." Her eyes were filled with tears, and Arjun knew he couldn't leave her to suffer. Determined to help, Arjun began to read the ancient books, searching for a way to break the curse. The texts were filled with cryptic symbols and arcane rituals, but he was determined to find a solution. Hours passed, and the storm outside grew fiercer. The wind howled and the rain pounded against the windows, but Arjun barely noticed. He was completely absorbed in his research, driven by a sense of urgency. Finally, he found a ritual that promised to release the spirit. It was a complex and dangerous procedure, but Arjun was willing to take the risk. He gathered the necessary items and prepared to perform the ritual. With the necessary items gathered, Arjun performed the ritual. He chanted the incantations and followed the instructions to the letter, hoping that it would be enough to break the curse. The room filled with a blinding light, and the spirit let out a blood-curdling scream. The mirror began to crack, and Arjun could feel the power of the curse being lifted. The mirror shattered, and the whispers ceased. The mansion fell silent. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and Arjun felt a sense of peace wash over him. Exhausted, Arjun made his way back to the village. The storm had passed, and the first light of dawn was breaking over the horizon. The villagers were astonished to see him alive. They had feared the worst, but now they saw him as a hero. They thanked him for freeing the spirit and breaking the curse that had plagued their village for generations. There was a sense of relief and joy in the air, and the villagers began to celebrate. But as Arjun prepared to leave the village, he noticed something strange. In the reflection of a small mirror in his room, he saw a flicker of movement. His reflection in the mirror seemed to move on its own, its eyes filled with a malevolent gleam. It was as if the spirit had not been fully vanquished, but had instead found a new host. The whispers had not been silenced, they had merely found a new host. Arjun felt a chill run down his spine as he realized that the curse might not be broken after all. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more chilling tales. Your support helps us bring you more stories of the supernatural and the unexplained. Stay tuned for our next adventure into the unknown.